Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Palm Beach State College webinar live chat for College Week Live on what you need to know about financial aid. We are glad to present today, and we're glad to provide information on the many sources of financial aid that is available out there and what's available and how you go about applying as well. My name is Thomas Vell. I'm the Director of Financial Aid for Palm Beach State College, and I'm here with my staff, and I will let them each introduce themselves and their area expertise.
My name is Brian Davis. I'm the Financial Aid Analyst under Loans.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Veronica Wood. I'm the Financial Aid Analyst, Scholarships.
Hi, my name is Trismaline Rosell, Financial Aid Analyst of State and Federal Loan Grants.
Thank you, everyone. So we'll get started right away. We'll ask that you hold questions until the end of the presentation. We do have a lot to cover, but we feel it's very informative and will help you with your application process. It certainly will ease your knowledge and give you more in-depth views on financial aid and what's available. Topics we'll discuss is what is financial aid, cost of attendance budget, expected family contribution, definition of financial need, our categories and sources of financial aid. We'll go over a brief rundown of the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid. The entire process starts with the FAFSA, and then we'll cover briefly special circumstances. Financial aid consists of funds provided to students and family to help pay for post-secondary education expenses. Every college has a cost of attendance budget. It includes direct costs and indirect costs, and then they're combined to form a budget. It does vary widely from college to college. For example, a out-of-state school or a school that provides residency is going to have a larger cost of attendance, and because they'll have housing costs compared to Palm Beach State College, which has very affordable costs and less housing costs than other institutions. Now, the cost of attendance is not the actual charges. It's just an estimate of the total expected fees that you may have to pay. It takes into consideration various factors, whether it be transportation, cost of living, books, supplies, just various costs altogether. And the college forms a budget. That budget is used by the financial aid offices then. Now, federal regulations dictate that the total financial aid package received cannot exceed the cost of attendance budget as established by the institution. This is an example of Palm Beach State College's cost of attendance budget for the current 2014-2015 academic year. Now, we do boast that, and we're very proud of the fact that we are very affordable. We have one of the lowest tuitions in the state as well as in the country, really. For an in-state undergrad student, our credit cost is $98.25 per credit, which is very affordable. As you can see here, the cost of attendance budget that we establish here for a dependent student is $15,180, and then an independent student is $17,430. Again, this is not actual cost. This is the budget we set up, and federal regulations state that you cannot have financial aid exceed this budget we set up. What is the expected family contribution? Now, the expected family contribution is derived from the FAFSA. It is the amount that the federal government, Department of Education, feels that the family can reasonably be expected to contribute towards the cost of their education. It stays the same regardless of the college, whether or not you attend Palm Beach State College or, for example, Harvard or Princeton or one of those schools. The EFC, the expected family contribution, will be the same. It's made up of two components, a parent contribution and a student contribution. Again, it's calculated using the FAFSA, the federal formula. Now, schools then make a determination of financial need, which is the cost of attendance budget, which we establish at schools, the financial aid office, minus the expected family contribution, which is then derived from the FAFSA, and then it determines financial need. The financial need is what financial aid officers have to try to make up and help you out in your funding needs and concerns. There are, across the board, guidelines and eligibility requirements that U.S. Department of Education sets up. The first being U.S. citizen, you must be a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. You must have a valid Social Security number. You must be registered with Selective Service if you're a male between the ages of 18 and 25. You must be enrolled and accepted as a regular student in an eligible degree or certificate program, meaning you must be pursuing a valid degree, not just taking classes for personal enrichment. For direct loans, you must be enrolled at least half-time to be eligible for direct loan funds, and we'll go into that further in a future slide. Continue on with eligibility. You must sign statements on the FAFSA stating that you're not in default on a federal student loan or not owe any overpayment or any funds to the federal student grant program, and you're also going to be using your federal student aid for educational purposes. Also, you must have a valid high school diploma or GED, and you must be meeting satisfactory academic progress, which is defined by the school that you attend. For Palm Beach State College, we have to have a satisfactory academic progress standard that we measure all students by. This is a requirement across the board for Federal Department of Education. Schools must monitor to make sure that students are matriculating towards a degree. They're not just basically taking classes and staying in school forever just to maintain and get financial aid funds to use for non-educational purposes, really. So they must be progressing towards a degree. For Palm Beach State College, our SAP, or Satisfactory Academic Progress, has two components, and this is across the board. Schools must have two components: a qualitative standard, which is the grade point average that a student must have at the end of each time we measure it, and a quantitative standard, which is PACE. Students must, as I mentioned, be progressing to graduate. Palm Beach State College, our qualitative standards is that students must have a cumulative GPA of a 2.0 or higher after completing 12 credits. The quantitative standards, students must pass 67% of the courses they attempt, meaning if a student drops, withdraws, fails, or repeats a class, it is considered a failed attempt from a financial aid point of view. To determine your PACE, if a student has attempted 24 cumulative credit hours and they've only completed 12, you take the 12 divided by 24 and you're getting a 50% completion rate. And the credit and clock hours completed and or attempted also must not exceed 150% of their attempted for the program. So meaning, if you're attempting or you're pursuing an associate's degree that is 60 credits, the federal government and Palm Beach State College will allow you to attempt 90 credit hours, 150% of the program. By then, you should have graduated. If not, then we're going to suspend your financial aid eligibility. If you fail to meet any of these requirements for SAP, we will suspend your federal student aid eligibility. You want to be careful of withdrawn and dropped courses. If you fail to meet SAP, again, your aid will be suspended. Now, you can appeal if you have valid extenuating circumstances. Some valid extenuating circumstances, if there's a medical condition that occurred that prevented you from attending class or attending exams or performing, or a death, unfortunately, in the family or sickness. If you have documented extenuating circumstances, you can file an appeal. Now, there's two classifications for financial aid and in your eligibility. There's dependency status and independency status as determined by the Department of Education. Students are considered dependent unless they meet one of the following conditions. If you're age 24 by the January 1st of the academic year, the calendar year, I'm sorry, that you plan on attending. If you're married, if you're pursuing a master's, graduate, certificate, or doctorate program, if you're currently serving in the U.S. Military Armed Forces, if you're a veteran of the U.S. Armed Forces, if you have children who receive more than 50% financial support from you during the academic year, if you have other dependents that will receive financial support, and then continuing on, if you your parents are deceased, you're in foster care or ward of the court, if you're determined to be unaccompanied youth by the school or by U.S. HUD department. If you qualify for independency status, then you may be eligible for additional sources of aid, specifically in loans, which we'll cover later on then. Two categories of financial aid. There's need-based and non-need-based financial aid. Types of financial aid are gift aid, which means it's basically free money. You don't have to contribute towards it. These are in the categories of scholarships and grants. And then self-help aid, which is considered where you, the student, must contribute towards these programs, whether it be paying it back or work, loans, and employment. We'll go over some examples of each. Now, your gift aid, again, as I mentioned, it doesn't have to be paid back. It can be awarded on the basis of merit, skill, or any other unique characteristic. Gift aid in the form of grants, it's money that does not have to be paid back. It's usually awarded on the basis of financial need. Most of the time it's determined by that EFC that we mentioned earlier from the FAFSA. Self-help options and loans is money that students and parents can borrow to pay for college expenses. The repayment of these loans usually begins after the education is finished. We want to stress only borrow what is really needed. You want to look at loans as an investment in the future, so if necessary, don't shy away from loans, but explore your gift aid options first, and if you still need help with your financing options, you can explore loans. We'll talk about the largest loan program, which is the U.S. Department of Education Direct Loan. Your self-help options, also continuing on, is in the form of employment. There are two employment programs that most colleges offer. One is federal work study program, and another is just continue on with jobs with the college. Now, for federal work study, it could be nonprofit organizations off campus as well as departments on campus. It's part-time work. The good thing about it is we understand that your education, your academics come first, so we provide flexible hours to work around your school schedule and your studies then. It can be a form of a paycheck or even non-monetary compensation such as room and board. Different sources of financial aid where you can obtain financial aid. The largest one is from the federal government, and then there's states, private organizations, civic organizations, and churches, as well as your employers and parents' employers. As I mentioned, the federal government is the largest source of financial aid. General aid is primarily awarded on the basis of financial need as determined by the FAFSA, the Free Application for Federal Student Aid, which we'll go over later. The FAFSA is an annual application you must apply every year. The common federal aid programs, the federal Pell Grant, federal Perkins loans, which some schools have, many schools do not. There are limited funds on that. The Teacher Education Assistance for College and Higher Education Grant, federal work study, which I went over already, subsidized and unsubsidized loans, which we will go over. There's also the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, and then Parent Plus loans as well. The Federal Pell Grant, it is a need-based grant as determined by the EFC and enrollment when you complete your FAFSA. The maximum amount awarded here as determined by need is $5,730. When you complete your FAFSA, you will get an EFC number at the very end, assuming that you completed your FAFSA accurately. You'll get an EFC number, the expected family contribution. You'll also get an estimate on your Pell Award. Based upon full-time enrollment, if you have a zero EFC, meaning the federal government has determined that you and your family are unable to contribute towards the cost of your education, then you will qualify for, based upon full-time enrollment, annual award of Pell Grant for $5,730. The FSEOG, Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant, it is a need-based grant, again, determined by the FAFSA. Schools have very limited funds of this. We recommend applying early, and it's awarded based on the highest level of need, the lowest EFC. Now, if you're eligible for federal Pell Grant, you may be eligible for the FSEOG. If you're not eligible for a federal Pell Grant, you will not be considered for the FSEOG. Schools have their own application deadlines where it's priority need in awarding. Make sure that you apply early, complete your FAFSA early. For Palm Beach State College, we recommend basically just completing your FAFSA generally by the end of March, usually around tax time when tax season comes around and the tax deadline on April 15th rolls around. When you complete your FAFSA, complete your taxes, complete your FAFSA then. As I mentioned already, federal work study, we already talked about that. It's jobs on campus, off campus, and it's flexibility as far as your scheduling. Your academics come first. And we try to provide rewarding skills and experience in the field of study you're interested in. For example, if someone's interested in accounting, we'll try to put you in a business environment where you can get some life skills that you can use to put on your resume for later on then. Now for scholarships, there are general guidelines that we recommend. Make a priority list. Focus on the deadlines and requirements when you're looking for scholarships. Gather all the requested information, because different scholarships have their different criteria and they're going to ask for different things on their application. Follow directions carefully. For example, I've seen scholarship applications not be denied because students didn't type up their essay, just did handwritten. Follow directions clearly and provide the information and the directions it's requesting. Double check the requirements. Have someone else even double check for you, a second set of eyes, so you're able to provide the guidelines that necessary. In order to keep your scholarships, many scholarships can be renewed each year. However, some have their own requirements, such as an application you have to complete each year. A minimum amount of enrollment status where you have to enroll in a specific amount of credits to continue to receive your scholarships. Maintain a minimum cumulative GPA. Continue pursuing the field of study or a specific major. You want to check with the donor of the scholarships and see which majors qualify. Federal direct loans, which is the largest loan program available. Funds come directly from the U.S. Department of Education. They come in two programs: subsidized as determined by need, and unsubsidized loans. Now, your subsidized are need-based. The reason why it's need-based is because the federal government will pay the interest while the student is enrolled at least a half-time status and during the grace period. Grace period meaning federal government allows one grace period per the lifetime of loan. When you graduate or drop to less than half-time status, you get one grace period of 6 months for direct loans, meaning you don't have to pay on that loan. 6 months to get on your feet, get a job, get some money saved up, and then your loans become due. Unsub loan, it's not need-based, meaning a student and their family could be millionaires, may not have specific low EFC. For example, a lot of financial directors, when they do presentations, they do the analogy: Bill Gates' children could get an unsub loan. It's not credit-based, it's not need-based. They qualify for an unsub loan as long as they're enrolled in half-time status. Now, the catch with unsub loans is that interest is not subsidized, meaning you must pay on interest while you're enrolled in school. You will get a quarterly interest statement. We recommend paying the interest while you're in school. If you cannot pay the interest, you can have the option of having it capitalized. But if you think about it, capitalization means that you're going to add that interest that continually accrues quarterly onto the principal. Then that principal continues to accrue and enlarge, and now you're paying interest upon interest. By the time you graduate, you could be adding several $1,000s of interest onto the principal of a loan. So if you can pay the interest, pay it. It's a very small amount that you'll get in a quarterly statement then. Borrow responsibly. Only borrow what you need towards your fees. There are a lot of students that may borrow for, they want to buy a new car. Do you really need a new car? They may borrow money for a laptop. Is it necessary for your course of studies to have a laptop? There are a lot of students, that unfortunately you're 18 years old and you see that you can borrow money. Only borrow what's necessary because you are going to have to pay this debt back. And we don't want you to discourage you from borrowing loans, but realize you're going to have to pay this debt back eventually. And you don't want to be graduating in your mid-20s or in the early 20s and have $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in debt. The average student loan borrower nowadays for an undergrad graduates with over $46,000 in student loan debt. Okay, keep that in mind. Only borrow what's necessary. Now, I will ask Brian Davis, my loan analyst, if he has anything he'd like to add regarding the student loan program and any points and tips he can add.
Well, one of the things I want to stress on is just to, like Thomas is saying, make sure you borrow only what you need. And I also want to stress, you want to maximize your subsidized eligibility before even considering unsubsidized eligibility. Because like you said, with the unsubsidized eligibility, the interest will be accruing on those loans. So please borrow responsibly.
Thank you, Brian. Continuing on with subsidized and unsubsidized loans, the current interest rate as set each year July 1st by the U.S. Department of Education is 4.66% for sub and unsub loans. Now, in this chart here, we have the annual loan limits based upon, as I talked about earlier, dependency and independency status. Combined loans for a subsidized student, first year undergraduate. This is dependency here, this chart here, $3,500, and then you can borrow an additional $2,000 in unsub. So your combined max per year as a first year undergrad, a freshman new student, $5,500. Now the school sets whether or not you're first year, second year, and so on. You can see continuing on, then it goes up as you matriculate then. I'll just let that slide show for a few seconds so you can take a look at that. Okay, continuing on then with the subsidized and unsubsidized loan. Federal government also sets the max limit you can borrow for the lifetime of the loan then. So for this, this is the lifetime limit based upon dependency and independency status. As I mentioned, if you're an independent student, you could qualify for additional sources of funding and loans as well. Also with an independent student, when you complete the FAFSA, parent information is not considered then. For a dependent student, for borrowing loans, the max you can borrow for the lifetime while pursuing an undergraduate degree then is $31,000. That's combined sub and unsub loan then. And you can see it's broken down then for sub then and additional unsub. An independent student, as you can see, can borrow significantly more, up to $57,500. As I mentioned before, and Brian mentioned, only borrow what's necessary because you really don't want to be graduating college with $57,000 loan payment for an independent student or a $31,000 loan payment. If you're pursuing graduate studies, then it significantly goes up because graduate school or even med school or if you're pursuing a law degree, law school can be fairly expensive in cost. The max you can borrow then is $138,500 then for grad and professional, and med school then is $224,000. And we'll just pause on this screen for a few seconds so you can look that over as well. Okay, continuing on then. And we talked about gift aid, we talked about grants and scholarships, even self-help aid and employment. Now we just talked about the federal direct loan. Recommend exploring scholarships, gift aid, grants. Explore those routes first. Then if you need student loan, pursue the sub and unsub direct loans. But there are some cases where you may need additional sources of funding. The next step would be then Parent Plus loan. This is a loan that the parent takes out for the student then. It's a credit-based loan in the parent name for the student's education. Now, Plus loans through the direct loan program have a fixed interest rate right now of 7.21%. Repayment begins 60 days after the funds are fully dispersed to the college, and the repayment term is up to 10 years. Now, the parents have the option of deferring the repayment while the student is an undergraduate student and enrolled in school. And they also possibly have a grace period then if the student drops below half-time status and or graduates. And the borrower limit is based upon credit rate, the parent's credit status, and the cost of attendance minus the other aid sources then. Now, the interest on the Plus loan is not subsidized, so it continues to accrue while the loan may be deferred or in a forbearance status. So again, that capitalization comes into play. If you can pay the interest, pay it. Otherwise, it can be capitalized. But again, that's interest upon interest, and it's adding to your principal. The good thing about a Parent Plus loan, as I mentioned, is a credit-based loan. Now, parents, we recommend if you're still looking to for additional sources of aid, have the parent apply for the Parent Plus loan. It's a credit-based loan. If the parent is denied the Parent Plus loan based upon credit rating, then the student can automatically qualify for additional sources of unsubsidized loan then in their name then. They qualify for the independent amount in unsub loan then. Anything else to add on that on loans, Brian, in regards to Parent Plus or even the interest rate or deferment status at all?
Just wanted to add, with the Parent Plus loan, like Thomas was saying, it is credit-based. And also, before deciding on a Plus loan, make sure that you are it's something that you definitely need, because we do want you to continue to borrow responsibly, even the parents.
If you look at Palm Beach State College, and there's a chart is that because our fees are very low, many of our students do not borrow loans. We're actually very proactive and trying to discourage loan use. We understand that sometimes it's necessary, but 65%, over 65%, nearly 2/3 of our students receive some sort of financial aid. Many of our students receive Pell Grant, and that's enough to cover their cost of tuition because our fees are so low. It's advantageous to enroll with Palm Beach State College because our fees are so low. We also have monthly payment plan options available, so you may not even need loan options, to be honest. It's interest-free monthly payment plan. Now, states, there are some financial aid sources within the state. For Florida, we have Bright Futures is a big one. We'll talk about that in a later slide. The states do award aid based upon merit and need. They use information from the FAFSA, and deadlines vary state to state. And so you want to check your FAFSA website, even check with the school financial aid office for the deadlines and the requirements. There are private sources of financial aid available. Research different foundations. Palm Beach State College has a large foundation. We do offer very generous grants and scholarships from our foundation office, and you can inquire with our financial aid office about the foundation scholarships, and our website lists our foundation scholarships that are available as well. There are businesses and charitable organizations. Don't be afraid to ask different organizations whether or not they have scholarship programs available. Their deadlines and their requirements and the procedures vary widely. Make sure you follow the directions as we mentioned earlier. Biggest advice we can give on scholarships is research early, apply early on scholarships. Again, just the same advice on civic organizations, churches you belong to, relatives, parents' churches. Just ask about that. Application process usually begins the spring of the senior year. Again, apply early. Don't be afraid to go after small scholarships. A $250 scholarship certainly adds up when you get 2, 3, 4 of them. So don't be afraid to apply for the small ones. Anything helps. Definitely explore that because it is free money. Employers, companies may have scholarships available to the children of your parents' employees. They may have educational benefits as well, even where you work. You might have a part-time job somewhere. That organization has a scholarship available. The biggest thing I can tell you with scholarships, and we'll continue on Palm Beach State specific scholarships, is, as I mentioned, apply early, follow directions on the guidelines. Also, avoid scam organizations. With scam organizations, they may ask you to pay money for them to rush an application process, or even to ensure that you're definitely going to get scholarships. Think about it. You're getting free money, or you're applying for free money. Why would you invest or pay money to get free money? That defeats the whole purpose of the scholarship. So do not pay organizations, do not pay application fees for scholarships. Now, for scholarships for Palm Beach State College, we have three different sources. We have institutional, we have private scholarships, and we have grants available. For Palm Beach State College scholarships, as I mentioned, the foundation, Bright Future Scholarship, private donors, and institutional scholarships. They are merit-based and need-based, which we covered earlier. For institutional, can be awarded on scholastic ability, talent, any area of study, or leadership ability. Foundation also awards requirements which are set by our generous donors. And there are private organizations also, as I mentioned earlier, that provide scholarships based upon their criteria. For our institutional scholarships, we have some very generous scholarships that we award and we're very proud of, which is our Presidential Honors College Scholarship. We award $4,000 per year. Basically, it is the cost of full-time attendance with Palm Beach State College and the cost of books. So you're not going to have to pay anything out of pocket if you qualify for the Presidential Honors College Scholarship. Our Green and Gold Scholarship, $2,000 per year. Then we have Honors College Merit Award, which is $500 per semester. And for those students that are looking to attend possibly in the summertime after they graduate high school, you want to get an early start, you can qualify possibly for a $500 award for the summer, which covers the cost of one course and books. Our website is listed there for scholarships, as you can see. Feel free to click on that if you want additional information. Visit our website, palmbeachstatecollege.edu. Click on financial aid for additional sources of financial aid information. I'll leave that up there for a second. Continue on then with foundation and private donor scholarships. Again, foundation scholarships are requirements set by our generous donors, which we're very appreciative of. They're awarded for the fall and spring terms. Applications are available online through our website. We also have funding available for summer terms as well. Most foundation scholarships do require students to complete the FAFSA. Our private donor scholarships are from local, regional, and organizations. Students should research and apply on their own. As we mentioned, don't pay for scholarship searches then. And here's the website for our scholarships then. Anything else to add? Veronica Wood, our scholarship analyst, and Yusmeline Russell, who oversees our Florida State Grant and Bright Futures program. I'll turn it over to Veronica Wood first.
Okay, the institutional scholarships that we just had up a few minutes ago, we do offer additional institutional scholarships and grants. One of our largest one is the PBSC grant. We highly recommend that students, when you complete your FAFSA, this is a particular grant that we will look at. The Presidential Honors and the Green and Gold Scholarship, those are for high school seniors that are graduating and will be attending Palm Beach State College in the fall. Now, as far as the foundation and the private donor scholarships, last year we awarded over $1 million in foundation and private donor scholarships. The application is normally up in the month of August, from the beginning of August to the end of August, so you really need to be aware of the time frame when the application closes. Once the application is closed, you will no longer be able to submit your application. So once you go in and start the process, please complete it at that time. Also, we awarded over $1 million, anywhere from $200 to $1,500. That will cover both fall and spring, and sometimes there is funding available for the summer term. Now with the private donors, this is also one of our biggest donors as well. We had over $1 million in private donors. These are, this is where the students will have to go out and to do the research on your own. As Mr. Vo mentioned earlier, this would be from civic organizations, businesses, employers, the such. So we have examples that are on our website, Coca-Cola Company. These are just some, just to name a few, Chick-fil-A. So please, don't hesitate to go out and to inquire about the private donor scholarships. Now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Ms. Yusmeline, to talk about the Bright Futures.
Hello, everyone. I do want to mention that to qualify for Bright Futures, you do not have to have a FAFSA on file. However, I want you to know that our school code for Bright Futures is 502, and all students are encouraged to go to the website, which is FloridaStudentsFinancialAid.org, to apply. Once you do the application, they determine what you qualify for, and that's how we get the information. So make sure to visit the website.
Thank you, Veronica and Yusmeline. Just showing the scholarships again, just real quick in case you have missed it. Okay. Now I want to go over just an example of the aid packages. As I mentioned, Palm Beach State College, we're really proud of our low cost and our quality of our education at our institution. This is an example of a couple of financial aid award packages. It's just an example. It's not a specific case scenario for all students across the board. As you know, EFC can vary. This is an example of a student that received financial aid award for Palm Beach State College. As you can see, they're a dependent student. Now the cost of attendance budget for a full-time student in state, remember, the cost of attendance is not the actual cost, it's the budget that we set in financial aid, $15,180. Now this is an example of what they received in financial aid package. Pell Grant, $5,635 for the year, $2,800 in the SEOG. Remember, SEOG, if you qualify for Pell Grant, you may qualify for SEOG. Sub loan, if they wanted to borrow a subsidized loan, which we covered. The Florida Bright Futures program, they got, for example, $1,656, and if they wanted a plus loan. Now, in this case, for our costs, as I mentioned, our tuition is $98.25 per credit. A student attending our college generally less than $4,000 for the year for full time. So there are students that actually receive a full Pell Grant award, maybe an SEOG, and they're getting more than enough to cover tuition, books, supplies, cost of attendance. As you can see in this case, the student technically really doesn't need a sub loan. They're getting more than enough gift aid to do that. You look at another school here on the right-hand side of the slide then, look at their cost of attendance budget, for example. They have a much higher room and board housing because they may have housing planned in the meal. They have to pay for rent each month, which is a much higher cost, $22,181 cost of attendance budget. Their award here, for example, if it's based upon need again in the EFC, it's the same award, but they're going to have to pay possibly out-of-pocket costs or even borrow loans. In our institution, the quality education you receive, our cost of our program, to enroll at Palm Beach State College is advantageous to attend our school, and many students do honestly receive a good Pell Grant and not have to pay out of pocket or have to get student loans. We recommend attending Palm Beach State College for the quality and the cost. Now, continuing on, the main application, as I mentioned earlier, all starts and ends with the FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid. It's a form that collects demographic and financial information and must be filed electronically. It's rarely nowadays using paper form. All schools really want you to file electronically. It is available in English and Spanish. It's expected to, as I mentioned earlier, schools use it to determine EFC, and then they award need-based aid based upon EFC. And we covered what EFC is earlier. It can be filed anytime during the academic year, but no earlier than January 1st. So if you're planning on enrolling in the 15-16 academic year, FAFSA is available as of January 1st, 15 days ago. You can file your FAFSA now. It's going to ask for tax information, so we recommend having your taxes filed, but you can file off the estimates. And we'll talk about the FAFSA process in a couple slides down the road. Colleges set the FAFSA filing deadlines. Remember, there are limited funds like SEOG, even work study. So if you're interested, apply early. Here's the website for FAFSA, FAFSA.gov. Make sure you're on FAFSA.gov. You go to FAFSA.com, FAFSA.net. It is scam organizations, profit organizations that actually want to profit off of you not knowing the process. That they claim they'll get the FAFSA in earlier, or they'll claim they'll process it accurately. It's quick and simple to file your FAFSA. Go to FAFSA.gov, federal government website. Okay, make sure you're on the right website. Again, that was available as of January 1st, 2015 for the upcoming academic year. You can also complete the FAFSA on the web worksheet, which is a pre-application worksheet you complete on your own, complete the answers, the questions followed in the order of the FAFSA, and then when you sign on to FAFSA.gov, you'll just transfer the answers from your worksheet straight onto the website then. Reasons why you should file on the web, and most students do. Generally, for Palm Beach State College, 99.5% of our students file on the web. The reasons why is there's built-in edits to prevent costly errors. There's skip logic that allows students and their parents to skip unnecessary questions. For example, if a student's an independent student, they don't have to put in their parent information. Or if you're renewing your FAFSA, remember you file your FAFSA every year. If you're renewing it, there's going to be questions that may not have changed. You just need to review the answers for accuracy. Maybe your address hasn't changed. Obviously, your date of birth hasn't changed. So these are things that you can skip. There's also an option to do IRS data retrieval, where you may not need to actually have your taxes present. If you filed your taxes electronically, you can actually just link from the IRS website and just transfer your IRS data information directly onto the FAFSA.gov website and get the information right there and transfer it over. Continued reason to file electronically, it's quicker. When you file your FAFSA electronically, schools will tell you about 10 to 14 days. It can be less than a week. I've seen FAFSA's process from the time you complete your FAFSA online, less than 3 days till the school gets the results. So it's a lot quicker. If you file a paper application, it can take sometimes 8 to 10 weeks. So for those that are wanting the limited sources of aid and have deadlines, do your FAFSA electronically. More detailed instructions and help to eliminate errors. On the right-hand side of each question, it'll give you additional information to eliminate errors and help you out. You can check your application online. Simplified application in the future where it'll pre-populate answers. As I mentioned, the IRS data retrieval tool. Students can submit their real-time requests from IRS straight onto the FAFSA. IRS will then To do this, IRS will authenticate the identity, and there's a match found. Will send the results over onto the FAFSA then. The applicant then chooses whether or not to transfer the data. The data retrieval tool is available as early as February and reduces documents. You may be selected for a process called verification. Financial aid offices may select you to complete additional sources of documentation and ask you to submit copies of your tax transcript. You may not be selected if you do the IRS data retrieval tool because the information most likely is accurate and correct then. If you fill it out using paper, we at the financial aid office may ask for you to submit your tax transcript so we can verify the data is correct. There are some people who may not be able to use the IRS data retrieval tool. Examples of this is if you filed an amended tax return, if you did not put your social security number, or maybe you were the parent's filing status or was married filing separately. Continuing on then with the FAFSA process, we recommend you and the parent file your FAFSA using a PIN. That PIN number, you can obtain it on that website, again, federal government website. Make sure you're going to pin.ed.gov and applying for a PIN number. It's a unique PIN number, one for you, the student, one for the parent, allows you to sign the FAFSA electronically. It's not required, but it speeds up that processing. And that PIN then may be used by you, the student, and the parent throughout the aid process, including subsequent school years. For the direct loan program, for the Parent Plus program, it allows, you can use your PIN to sign your master promissory note electronically. That'll speed up the process as well then. FAFSA on the web worksheet, we talked about that. Questions are in the order of the FAFSA. You can actually fill it out on the paper and then transfer the information over to the FAFSA's website. Signatures are required. You, the student, must sign your FAFSA. One of the parent must sign the FAFSA as well. It's the parent that student resides more than 50% of the time with, and or the parent that provides more than 50% financial support for the academic year that the student will be enrolled in. So there's divorced, separated parents. Again, that's the definition. It's who the student resides in more than half the time of the academic school year, and or the parent that provides more than 50% financial support. You can sign your FAFSA using the PIN or the signature page or a paper FAFSA. But again, the signature page and the paper FAFSA, you're going to have to send those in, and it can take lengthy process, 8 to 10 weeks sometimes. Common FAFSA errors, inputting social security number incorrectly, whose parent, divorced or remarried parent, completes the FAFSA. If you reside with a parent that is remarried, that parent's wife/husband must put their FAFSA, put information on the FAFSA as well. The income earned by the parent/step parent to be incorrect. Untaxed income not inputted completely. Common one is U.S. income taxes paid equaling the adjusted gross income. That's impossible, but it's a common error where you may be going through the FAFSA real quick and transmitting the information, and you might have put the wages and the income taxes paid the same. U.S. Department of Education will cross-reference and check this information versus different organizations, Social Security Administration, Selective Service, as well as IRS, just to make sure the information is correct. If it's incorrect, it can delay processing of your FAFSA, which may limit you for sources that are available. So make sure you want to do it accurately. Just continue on with the others, as you can see there. Household size, number of households members in college. Household size is you count you, the parent, and the anybody else that your parent provides more than 50% financial support in the household on the FAFSA. You do not count, as far as number in college, you do not count your parents as the number of household members in college. It's whoever your parents provide more than 50% financial support for the academic year upcoming that is enrolled in at least half-time status coming up in the number in college then. Then real estate and investment net worth, the value. It's the value that the current market value, and you also do not include the home that you live in then. And again, on the right-hand side of each question on the FAFSA, it gives answers as far as recommendations and help then. When you complete your FAFSA then, once you submit it then, the CPS, the Central Processing System, notifies the student of the FAFSA results by one of the following ways. You'll get a paper student aid report in the mail if the paper FAFSA was filed and the student's email address was not provided, or a SAR acknowledgement if the FAFSA was filed on the web, but you did not include your email address. Again, this is a lengthier process. You can also be notified via email containing a direct link to check your status online through the student aid report if an email was provided on the paper FAFSA or an electronic FAFSA. Again, file your FAFSA online. You can also check your FAFSA online, student aid report online, if you have your PIN on the website fafsa.gov. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you file your FAFSA electronically, generally the time frame we give is 10 to 14 days. The school will get an ISER, what's called an Institutional Student Information Record. That's basically the information on your FAFSA, your information sent to the school's financial aid office. Then the school may request additional documentation. For example, verification, we covered that, asking you to submit tax transcripts or proof that a sibling is enrolled half-time in college. There may be other sources. But if you filed your FAFSA correctly, you did the data transfer, you may not be selected to provide additional information. Generally, as I mentioned, we recommend 10 to 14 days, but I've seen it done within 3 days. That's why it's advantageous to file your FAFSA electronically. When you get your student aid report, whether it be in the mail, hopefully though electronically online, or you signed on through using your PIN or email, review the data for accuracy. Make sure everything's correct. There's also comment codes on the bottom of your FAFSA. It's called SAR comment codes, student aid report comment codes. Review those. That'll determine whether or not additional information is necessary. It'll also review your eligibility requirements. You can also review your estimated award there and the figures as they're available at the end of the student aid report. Check to see if there's anything that you may need, but you can get an accurate estimate of your figure. When you fill out your FAFSA, if you're unsure what school you want to go to, you're not sure that whether or not you attend Palm Beach State College, even though we hope you attend, definitely list us. Our school code, just to let you know right now, 001512, I believe.
0015.
I'm sorry, 0020, my apologies, 001512. My staff knows it better than I do. They are on the front lines and they are helping students constantly, so I appreciate my staff for providing that. 001512. You complete down your FAFSA, but you can list up to 10 schools, and then the schools will then get a listing of your ISER, your FAFSA results, and we can provide you the estimate, your preliminary award. Call the financial aid office, ask them, what's the preliminary award? Or check your student aid report. As you'll see, you'll get an estimate on the Pell Grant. A lot of our students don't have to pay out of pocket because their Pell Grant will cover it, because our fees are so low. If you need to make corrections on your FAFSA, you can do it through FAFSA.gov using your PIN. You can update your paper student aid report, or just go straight to your financial aid office. Make sure you just have a good relationship with your financial aid office. We are here to help you. We want your questions. We want you to come in. We want to know you on a first name basis. Come in and just say, hey, Veronica, what's going on with my scholarships? Hey, Brian, how am I doing with the loans? Do I owe any paperwork to you? Have I signed my master promissory note? Did I do entrance counseling, which is a requirement to do online? You may be required to do entrance counseling where you're going to have to go through a 30-minute online tutorial on your rights and responsibilities as a student loan borrower, so you know what you're getting involved with. You might want to contact USMALENE for Palm Beach State College if you have questions regarding Bright Futures. We are here to help you. We love the questions, and we want to have a relationship with you one-on-one, and just have you come in and just acknowledge us and say hi. We're glad to and welcome your questions. Special circumstances. Sometimes there may be changes. Your FAFSA is a snapshot of your financial status when you file your FAFSA. There may be changes on the FAFSA. If you have changes, contact your financial aid office. We may have you provide written explanation. We may be able to do a calculation of your EFC, a recalculation, and you may be able to qualify for additional sources of aid. We hope that situations don't occur where a death of the family occurs, or increased cost of living, or whether it be increased child child expenses, or even maybe divorce or a separation occur. Come talk to us about that situation. Have a good relationship with us, and we're here to help you, certainly. These are examples, as I mentioned, change of employment status, marital status, etc. Again, we are here to help you. We thank you. Continue to have questions with us. Come meet with us. If you have questions, come see the staff. We have a good frontline staff who are here to help you. Come to our individual campuses. We have several campuses. We have 4 different campuses. We are opening a 5th one coming up in Loxahatchee Groves. Our campuses, Boca Raton, Palm Beach Gardens, Belglade, and Lake Worth here. Feel free to come to the front lines and just feel free to continue to stay in contact. Don't assume once you file your FAFSA, you're done. Check to make sure we got your FAFSA. Answer questions. We do have time for your questions at this time. Feel free to type on the chat window, and we will answer those verbally then. So we welcome your questions. We have an hour-long webinar scheduled, so we have about good 10 to 15 minutes left there for your questions. And we thank you for your attendance and time today, and I'll also turn it over to my staff if they have any comments they want to add. In the meantime, we'll wait for your questions.
Well, on a long basis, like I just want you to remember what is key. I continue to say it because it's so important. When borrowing direct loans, only borrow what you need.
Anybody else from my staff have any questions?
Just remember that in addition to the federal aid, which is the loans and the Pell Grants and the scholarships, there's also the Bright Futures state grants that you can apply for. And the only way to know what you qualify for is to go to the Florida Student Financial Aid.org website to fill out the application. And the students must apply during the senior year of high school between December 1st and before graduation. If you do this on time, you will certainly receive notification from the state telling your eligibility. And good luck.
For scholarships, once again, as Mr. Vo mentioned earlier, scholarships, when you complete your application, when you go out there and do your research, please do not ever pay for scholarships. Scholarship is gift aid. It is free money. You do not have to pay $5, $10, $15, $25 just to submit an application. If you have any questions, please feel free to stop by our office. Also, on another note, on our institutional scholarships, we do offer a lot more just than the presidential and the green and gold. We have a 4.0 achievement scholarship for those of you that have GPAs of 4.0. We have a $500 scholarship. Also, we do have our Summer Quest scholarships. We also have SGA. A lot of our students are into the student government. We do, we'd like for you to go in and talk to the student activities managers to see how you can get involved on our campus. They have SGA executive board. So we do hope that, you will take some form and go and get involved in these particular activities. Also, we have music clubs. So we have a lot of scholarships that are out there, and we would love to offer them to you. So once again, feel free to stop by our office and speak with us on a one-on-one basis.
Thank you, Veronica, Yusmeline, and Brian. We do definitely recommend explore your scholarships, your gift aid first, and grants as well. With our low costs, as I mentioned, scholarships and grants can cover most of your costs. We're not saying shy away or deter yourself from taking student loans, but many of our students do not, which we're very proud of. We've been able to eliminate a lot of student loan debt. The average student takes less than $2,500 per year. Remember I mentioned earlier that the average student loan for their undergraduate studies, student loan debt can be over $40,000 sometimes. For us, because our average student is only borrowing less than $2,500 a year because our costs are so low, we really, really are proud of the fact that we really are cognizant in providing other sources of the aid available, and we are contributing towards eliminating student debt and the burden on students. We've made it our mission to always explore new scholarships and grants, and we're always reviewing and creating new scholarships and grants constantly. So definitely review that and apply. Do your homework and apply early. If you need help with applications, if you need help with essays, come to our office. We're glad to help out in any way. I will just pause here and just open it up for continued questions. We are very appreciative that you took the time to review the video, that you are taking the time for your to review your funding options, and we wish you the best of luck in your continued success currently with you're in high school and enjoying your senior year as you look to make an investment in your future. We want to contribute towards your success, and we thank you for all the hard work that you've done, and we hope to see you contributing to the Palm Beach State College community. For those that are in the area, we do also host various events throughout the academic year. We host various financial aid nights. Feel free to visit our website. If you are attending a local high school, we'll be going around to local high schools and presenting financial aid nights and doing similar presentations like these. And we will do high school visits as well. If you're interested, also contact your high school guidance counselors and let them know. This is a free service we offer. Like I said, we want to be able to be proactive and help you with your college costs. So we look forward to seeing you in local high schools, even events. Look at our website, come to our college campus, look for a tour, contact our admissions and outreach department if you're interested in paying a visit. We certainly would love to have you do our campus tours at our various campuses that we have. We have a beautiful campus. We have state-of-the-art modern facilities. We have a caring faculty and staff, and we would love to meet you. So definitely explore that option. At this point, we are at the end of our time. Again, we thank you and we wish you the best of success, and I'll let my staff say their goodbyes as well.
On behalf of the loan department here at Palm Beach State College, I wish you continued success.
On behalf of scholarships, please stop by to see us. We're always open. We have an open door policy. Good luck and continued success.
Any questions we can help you with, just give us a call. We're here to help you with aid grants, with Pell Grant, with any questions you may have. Filling out the FAFSA, we can help you do that as well. So just come in, talk to someone, come visit the financial aid office so we can help you.
Okay, well, thank you all for your time and attending this today, and we wish you the best of luck. And again, feel free to research your options, and we hope to have you at Palm Beach State College. We'd be loved to have you here.